Warehouse. Today's tech tip, we're going to do a backhead conversion on a sanding compressor. What we've got here is a common problem that happens over torquing on the suction discharge fittings. Most fittings being steel, over torqued, backheads are common, the ports break. So what we're going to do is we're going to convert the compressor, actually just replace the backhead with a new JD backhead on it. We've got some, while we're doing this video, we can cover two different aspects. Sandin makes a flex model that comes with a GV backhead that's used with different manifolds to port it. A lot of people will buy a flex compressor and use the existing backhead on the OEM compressor. If you note, the backheads are two different thicknesses. One uses a 48mm bolt, the other one uses a 43mm bolt. When you are changing a backhead from one to the other, you need to be very careful and watch the lengths of the bolt that you're using, one versus the other. If you have too long of a bolt, what you will see is the unthreaded portion of the bolt will be exposed. That's your sign if you've got the incorrect bolt sizes. The other thing to watch for is when removing a backhead, oil sometimes gets trapped in this cavity of the backhead, and when you remove it, the oil will run down into the holes. If you don't get the oil out of the bolt holes when you're installing the new bolts and replacing the backhead, you can have hydraulic compression build and blow a hole out in the casing of the compressor. Or with too long of bolts and you try to torque it down, you'll strip the bolt holes out. Moving back to the compressor that we're going to do the conversion on. 1/2 inch 13mm socket. Moving your bolts. I pulled the backhead off and immediately the oil is running down into these bolt holes. So I'm removing the old gasket, taking the oil, holding the valve plate on, and draining it out. Always replace your gasket. Use the guide pins on the valve plate to line your gasket. It will only go on one way. Making sure you got the correct bolts in the backhead. Replace the new gasket. Realign the head, the guide pins. Always hand tighten your bolts. If you're using air, be sure to have your air pressure turned down on your ratchet. Once we got the backhead on, we're going to finish torquing it out. The spec for these backheads to be torqued at is 29 foot-pounds. Once I get them torqued, I do always like to go back around and confirm that all the torque is even on each bolt. Once the backhead's changed, the bolts are torqued, the compressor is ready to put back in service. One note you want to watch out for: if there was a lot of oil that was trapped in the cavity of the backhead, a good practice to do is go ahead and remove the compressor oil fill plug, drain the oil out of the compressor, and reinstall new oil in the correct amount. The tags specify the quantity of oil that is needed, or that came factory. This one being 300